Today we're going to talk about 7 of the most powerful weapons women love to use to manipulate guys. I think this is a very important video because most of us have been in a manipulative relationship before, and I wanted to point out these manipulative weapons that a woman can use on you to get what she wants, because it is important for you to know what these psychological weapons are, how to respond to them, so you can actually make the right decision and correct the behavior right on the spot. One of the most powerful weapons that a woman has in her arsenal is the sex weapon. Sex, is just so powerful, just as powerful as money is to a guy, and women love to use sex as a way to get what they want. So a woman might tell you, if you don't buy me this Chanel perfume, I'm not going to sleep with you tonight, or if you don't take me out on this fancy vacation, I'm not going to sleep with you next weekend. Or she might tell you, hey, you know what, if you don't, pay the rent, and you don't let me, live rent free, then I'm not gonna stay with you and I'm not going to sleep with you anymore. Or potentially she will say, if you stop paying for this, I'm going to stop giving you sex altogether. Whatever the reason might be. She could also use it in a very different way, which could be, think about it. If we go on this fancy vacation, and we have this fantastic time, think about the vibrant sex we can both consume on this vacation. And that's just one example. She could use it for very simple everyday things that, guys need and want. And in order for you to get these things, guess what needs to happen? You need to open your wallet. Comparison blackmail is another powerful weapon a woman loves to use in order to get what she wants. And the way it works is that women love to compare. Of course, not all of them. You could make the argument that not all of them love to compare, but some of them do like it more than others. And how it works is that a woman uses her friends, boyfriends, and husbands' behavior to justify something that you need to do for her. And how it works is that she will tell you, you know what, my friend Sabrina has this husband or boyfriend who, takes her on a fancy vacation, or who bought her a car, or who did this for her, who did that for her, all those crazy things which don't necessarily represent love, they just represent materialistic stuff. But she's going to tell you about those experiences that her friends had, because she thinks that those experiences or those things, those tangible things, will also bring luck in her life, will also bring fulfillment in her life. And comparison works because she thinks like, well, if I tell him this, then he's probably going to think if he's not going to do this for me, he's going to look like a fool, because first of all, we're friends with him. So he's going to rationalize that, in order for us to fit into this society, into this friendship circle, he's going to think, okay, I have to do this as well, because, if I'm going to get exposed by her, meaning, the girlfriend, I'm just not going to look good publicly. And guys think like that, and if that's the case, then you're in a very toxic relationship. But it's a very powerful weapon, right? The comparison weapon. Emotional abuse is very powerful. It doesn't just happen in romantic relationships. It happens in everyday relationships, friendships, relationships you have at work, doesn't matter, it happens everywhere. And how it works is that a woman will tell you, you know what, you should really think a little bit more about how you act. How you act publicly is not something that I can accept. Or she's going to tell you something like, what you did there on this party was really stupid. Whatever it was, maybe you told a funny joke about you guys, how you had a little bit of a weird experience, and she's going to tell you, well, you know what? This was one of the dumbest jokes ever, and she's going to, use her emotions to make you feel bad about it, even though it wasn't really something to feel bad about to begin with. She could tell you, what, if you do this, if you go out with your coworkers next weekend like you said you would, even if it's just a regular company gathering, then she said, what, I'm going to leave you. Or, I'm not going to talk to you for like a week. Or I'm going to be really, really upset. She's going to use that, and this is emotional abuse. It's using one's emotions in a negative way to get what you want. And that's a weapon women love to abuse. Women love to be in control of at least certain aspects of the relationship, and they use emotional abuse to get there. A woman might tell you, you gotta prove your love to me before we can move on, before we can, take the next step. This is so common, and the prove your love, mentality exists around so many different things. It exists around her introducing you to her family. It exists around, you sleeping with her, or before you can sleep with her, you have to do certain things. You have to bring her to, this place, or you have to buy her a car, or you have to, whatever, spend 10 hours a day with her. And if you don't do that, then you don't love her enough. Well, it doesn't really, make any sense, because just because you spend 10 hours with a person doesn't mean you love them. It just shows personal sacrifice, but it doesn't necessarily show love. A person who really loves you accepts you for who you are, and if you are, a very work-focused person, and a person that just needs a certain amount of hours, in the office, or if you run a company, whatever it may be, you need that time. And if she says, you need to do so and so much, and then, well, she's not considering the whole picture. It could also be, if you love me, you're gonna buy me this couch, If you don't love me. It could be used in any way, shape, or form that is ridiculous, to the point where you're asking yourself, does this really translate to love? Because deeply internally, it doesn't. Women love drama. We don't like it very much. We hate it because we're more rational. We're more thinkative, right? We are more in our brains. Women are more about emotions. They're more in their heart and, stuff like that. They're more emotional. We're more rational. So she might tell you, you're the only one who didn't do this for me. And she will compare you to her exes, or other people, or other friends, boyfriends. She knows. She will tell you that. And she will tell you, what? I've never been with a guy that, didn't buy me flowers every weekend, And that's fine. You are who you are. If you're not a romantic person, chances are you're not going to do that. And vice versa. Let's say you're a guy that is absolutely romantic, and the woman prefers being with a guy who isn't romantic at all. She might tell you, you're the only one who ever bought me flowers every weekend, and you're a softie. It's just an example, right? But it comes in all ways, shapes, and forms. So it's really crazy for a woman to use such a weapon, but it works more often than it doesn't. So why not apply it? Ridiculing is another big weapon a woman loves to use. Not all of them, of course, but many love to use the ridiculing weapon. And how it works is that a woman will tell you, it's gonna be the year 3010 very soon, and you still haven't done this for me, and I just think it will never happen. Something like that. It's just making fun of you publicly, privately, doesn't matter. Using the ridiculing weapon to get what she wants, which could very well be just, emotional high, getting an emotional high from it, or maintaining control of the relationship, because women, as we know, love having control of the relationship just as much as we men do. But it's a weapon the woman knows how to use very well, and also use very frequently, we have to say. So you got to be careful here. Last but not least, we got the tear weapon. Women love to cry, and it's potentially one of the most commonly used weapons out of all of them. It's probably the most common weapon, because haven't you been with a girl that cried every single time, that you didn't get something, or every single time that, you upset her, even if it was just like the slightest of things, something very trivial. It's kind of funny, how it works, because guys don't respond very well to tears. We don't like to see a woman cry. We actually hate it. It makes us weak, because it's a feminine characteristics. And we know that if we make a woman cry, we probably did something wrong. Don't get me wrong, there are real tears and fake tears. Real tears are legitimate tears that, just come out when you really hurt a person. Let's say you told her, you effing B, you should not have done it. You yelled at her, you verbally abused her really bad. If you did that, then shame on you. Shame on you. You shouldn't have done that, right? Apologize to her. Be a good guy. Apologize to her. There is a difference between being manly and being, rude and insulting, which is not a good thing. It doesn't need to be like that, right? So we can solve that as men. But still, if she cries because you did that, we're talking about legitimate tears. Or, if she really got hurt in another way, let's say she got physically hurt, had an accident or something, or cut herself, legitimate tears. Or if somebody died, legitimate tears, right? Or if she achieved something great, she had an upgrade, she got a promotion, whatever, again, legitimate tears. But then there is fake tears, ridiculous tears. Anytime you do something that, she doesn't want you to do, like you just want to go jogging and she starts crying because you didn't, ask her to go with you, or because she doesn't want you to go jogging because it's wet, she thinks you're going to get sick. Well, you still want to go jogging because you're a guy and you want to exercise, so there's nothing wrong with that, right? So if she uses that in this sense, then we're talking about, fake tears because she's crying because she wants you to stop, jogging, which is crazy. Or, she wants you to stop, having a drink with your coworkers, if you get together for a company meetup, just another example. Or she doesn't want you to talk to an old friend at all, and she uses tears again, and that old friend could very well be a guy, but she doesn't want you to talk to him because she has in her mind something, that's not very positive about him, so she thinks that if she cries, you will stop talking to him. And like I said, men are just less likely to cry. I mean, men are more masculine, they have more emotional control, men are more rational, they're more in their brain, women are more emotional, and so women know that most men can't see a woman cry. It's just not in our genes, we don't like seeing it, and especially if we think we did something wrong. But it is something to be aware of. Now that we talked about the 7 most powerful weapons a woman can and will use to manipulate you, what should you do in case you are in a relationship with a woman that uses one or multiple of these weapons with you or against you, right? What can you do? That is the magical question. The answer is you gotta correct her inappropriate behavior right on the spot. And what I mean by that is if you spot any of these misbehavior, because that's what it is, it's a misbehavior, you want to correct it right away, especially if you're 100% certain that she's using it against you, that she's using it in a way that she shouldn't, where she should just, communicate with you and try to solve it in a more constructive way, in a fairer way, because using any of these 7 manipulative weapons is not fair for you. It's not fair for the guy. And women love to use it because they work. These weapons work. Whenever you see that, correct it right on the spot. Tell her, look, I know what I said and I know what I did, and it wasn't anywhere near as bad as you make it sound. Let's say she's using the tear weapon, right? Or let's say if she's using like the sex weapon, if she's using the sex weapon and you were like, well, I'm not willing to do that because first of all, we're in a relationship, where we actually built this whole thing on true love, it's not a conditional relationship. And, if she still continues using it and you're not okay with it, it is time for you to move on, because if you're with a woman that uses sex in order to get what she wants, then it's a problem. We know that men are driven by sex, but still it doesn't mean that you should be giving in all the time. Anyway, we're not going to talk about examples for each one again, because we've already done that, but just correct her right on the spot. Just tell her, this is unacceptable for me because I haven't done anything wrong. If you tell her, if you cannot stop this behavior, then I think we cannot continue the relationship. So you gotta be upfront, you gotta be just straight to the point. You gotta tell her what you think and why it bothers you, how it bothers you, and if she can't fix it, then it is time for you to move on, because there's plenty of fish left in the ocean. She's not the only woman on the planet, and chances are you will find somebody much more suitable and appropriate for you. Somebody who will not use as many psychological weapons as she used on you. Are there any other manipulative weapons that I forgot to discuss in today's video? Are you currently in a relationship with a woman that likes to apply one or more of these manipulative weapons? If so, leave a comment below and let us know. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'm uploading new videos on digital nomad locations, travel updates, and investment advice several times a week right now. I highly recommend that you grab a free copy of my latest ebook, The Nomad Elite Income Booster, your go-to guide for creating passive income streams using the internet. And if you got some more time left, check out these videos. Thank you for watching.